Football never ends.
What's poppin', guys? What's poppin'? We're back again, Fury Live. We got Tim. We got Josh. You know, Josh Shim, Tim Dog. Blessing the panel again, our beautiful guests. We got Dullah back again. We got Fogmeg. I think a phone call. Oh, there goes Fogmeg. He's back again. He's back here. We got a good show for you guys. We're giving some predictions for the NFC side. Last week we did the AFC. Now we're doing the NFC. And a little bonus, we're going to talk about playoffs as well. So that being said, Tim, Josh, Shimmy, what's going on?
Oh, man. This is probably my favorite part of the year, Josh. Talk about football is back. A lot of things to talk about. Last week we did the AFC side. I know we had some callers who didn't like what was predicted. We didn't care. So we're going to predict the NFC side. If they don't like the prediction, but they can always call us and talk about it. Josh, you want to start with the NFC East?
Yeah, you want to get into
you want to
talk about the preseason a little bit with the panel?
Yes, I mean, a good idea. I'll say this real quick. I loved it. What I loved about it was Hugh Jackson said, I believe it was last week, that he hoped his players did not protest. But you know what? We have not only the Browns a bad team, there's no major star on the team. We have rookies, young players who didn't care. We had a white player, and I believe it was Seth Vakale, a tight end, and he protested and spoke about why he protested. And I just thought it was beautiful. It was unit. They supported one another. And these were young players. It wasn't no big name guys during that protest. So I think it's gonna grow. It's gonna grow.
Just some general ideas I had about the postseason, just some thoughts right off the bat. To be quite frank with you, I really don't give a damn about the preseason. I'm sorry. It's meaningless to me. Even to try to see your projected players, it's just not the same because they're not going to be performing that way when it's week one in the regular season. That's just how I feel about it. I wish we would do less with the preseason games, make it maybe two. I honestly, I think the NFL should go in a format where they should start televising these practices or even scrimmages between teams because, one, not a lot of fans are able to get out to their team's facilities during the summer and they want to see their teams practice. And two, everyone is starting to think they're a general manager or fantasy fanatic on their couch, and they will be tuning in just to see teams practicing, other teams practicing, not their own, just because they're going to be playing all 22 GM and scout. And I think that's just going to add a whole new incentive to watching that as well. Get rid of the preseason for the most part, add more practices or a little bit more to the training camp ritual so we can have better quality of play, especially with the offensive lines. It's getting pitiful with this. It's kind of sad. And other than that, yeah, I mean, I love the protest. I love the direction it's going in. I love that the more players are joining in, especially of the white race. That's needed. More people need to stand up for that, and it needs to come together. Everyone needs to stand together for that. It needs to be a united cause. So I do applaud them for doing that. Fox, you got anything?
I said last week that Hugh Jackson saying anything about it was a bad idea. And he just proved me right. Because guess what? Hugh Jackson's the head coach of the Browns. And they're not going to be very good this year. So now you're not going to be very good. You have a potential, players about whether you should kneel or not. He was really better served not saying a word, given the fact that his head might be on the chopping block if they go 1-15 again, which is a possibility given that it's the Browns. So I think the quality of the preseason play, it's been what it is. Guys are getting hurt. We had a few, key injuries to, players across the league over the last week. But, it's football. It's a part of the game. You got to evaluate these guys because you got to, You want to keep the right guys on the roster, and the only way to do that is to have them play football against other people. So that's my feeling on the preseason. Hugh Jackson, you screwed up there, buddy.
Yeah, Hugh blew it. He should have kept his mouth shut. There was no point to bring attention to yourself, especially in the contradictory way that he did. As far as the preseason is concerned, it's the same every year. Garbage. So.
Wait, well, the reason I'm sorry, I didn't say my reason for the preseason. I'll just say this real quick. The reason why I like the preseason is because you get to see players that your scouting department might have missed on. It gives guys more chances. I just don't think it's for the starters at all. Perfect example, and not to glorify on it, was Odell Beckham Jr. My opinion was out there too long for 2 quarters to prove a point, I guess, to the coaching staff because there was no rhythm with the team. And to me, that hurts because just like Josh, I remember pointing out, if his cleats would have stood to the ground, to that grass, the man probably could have had some type of Marcus Lattimore situation with his leg, and that's career threatening. So I think preseason is good for the practice squad guys, the young guys to develop, because we have seen former stars come out from the preseason and emerge, like Victor Cruz. A lot of those guys would not get chances just by practicing and making it a team. You want to see this guy get some real practice, and playing is 2 different things. Just like a 4.2 or 4.2 and a 40 at the combine versus a guy who was a 4.7 or 4.8, same position, and that 4.7, 4.8 guy does way better as a receiver than that 4.2 guy. So I think preseason is good, but it's not for your main stars. It's good for the young guys you want to see develop. And you might find a gem.
So what about televising practices?
Well, yeah.
Well, so wait, now to piggyback off that though, here's the thing.
Be real quick.
The thing with televising practices, in my opinion, is that you're telling the defense don't touch the offense. So it's kind of like it's like you're playing 2-hand touch. You're running different plays. It's not really the same. Is when you've seen a different type of defense, different type of game plan. Greg Williams was actually blitzing the Giants. Some preseason games you don't see that. You see a regular stance. They were actually stunting on the Giants. So when you're a team like the Browns, who are not a good team for a lot of years, you want to see guys emerge, and who gives you an idea who to keep.
All right. Well, real quick, you have an answer for that? You're on mute.
Yeah. So so if you do that, so if you just make the preseason a bunch of like young guys competing, the quality of football that you televise is gonna start to decrease. So, it's the preseason, but you gotta have some of your guys that are going to make the team play, if not anything, to get them into game shape. And the quality of what you're watching is not going to be very great because these are fringe guys.
Right. Makes sense. All right, Timmy, you want to start us off with the NFC East so we can get through this quick, and then Dullah and Mr. Fox can just rip us apart for our little guesstimations?
Fine. Yes. Why not?
Hey,
listen, why not? Why not?
Start with that bottom tier, baby. Who's the bottom in the NFC East?
Bottom tier is the Washington Redskins. That's right, Mr. Kirk Cousins, who, in my opinion, he knows he's on a Redskin next year. We got a 1-year rental to Terrell Pryor. We got a head coach who still who has 3 different running backs in 3 different years. My God, stay your ass in the bottom of Washington Redskins. Let's move on to the third spot. The third spot, you can give me all the hate mail, but Spoonie loves y'all. Remember that. Here's the thing. I got the New York Football Giants third place. You know why? Because a guy like McAdoo don't have any sense. You got the best wide receiver in the NFL in Odell Beckham Jr. You decided to let him play for 2 quarters. The man was a cleat, a thorn, a nail this long from having to stay in the grass, and his leg was done. And you know what McAdoo? Here's the thing. Look at Deshaun Jackson. Anytime a player puts $100 million policy on himself, that means one thing. He won't play the same. He cares about himself. Let's move on to the number 2 team. And Fogmeg, don't hide from me, Fogmeg. You're not going to put there the Philadelphia Eagles. Do you know why? Because they like the Dallas Cowboys. They have a nice offensive line, healthy offensive line. They have a pretty good offense. And you know what? I have to say, they have the second best defense in this division. So I got them number 2. And my number 1 team. I love you. Look, I love you. Cowboys, we all know that. Listen, Zeke suspended. Look. We eat that. You know why? Because guess what? Morris, 1,000-yard runner, and Derek McFadden, 1,000-yard runner, the best offensive line in football. That's what the Dallas Cowboys. Free Zeke, baby. Free Zeke.
All right, Tim. You're gonna
surprise.
Gonna be a little disappointed, Timmy. I'm sorry because you realize in the NFC East, I know Cooper has said it numerous times, there hasn't been a repeat division winner in 15-something years now. What are we on now? 16, 17? We're climbing the ranks fast. Anyways, yes. Dallas is automatically not going to win the division again. I'm sorry. You actually are going to have a down year. I apologize. I don't make the rules. I just follow them. Dallas is actually going to be on the bottom at 8-8. If the division is going to be very close, the only thing that's going to separate the top seed and the bottom seed is going to be 2 wins. But Dallas is going to be 8-8. I'm sorry. You're losing a premier back for potentially 3/8 of your season. And we're talking about cornerbacks that are going to be fresh and newbies in a huge game where it does not benefit cornerbacks at all. And they're going to be going against some very good weapons in the NFC East. You got some premier receivers this year lining up in the league. Or in the division, I should say. So I'm sorry. But on top of Dallas, with the same record, but they have like a 1 or 2 more division wins, I believe. I didn't tally it. Just counted it real quick. But Washington is there right above Dallas with just a couple more divisional wins. 8-8, same kind of year. They got a top offense. I think that's going to outplay Dallas a little bit, but their defense is still in question. Kind of a little young line. They got Jonathan Allen there. We can see how he can produce. And then second, what I'm going with is the Philadelphia Eagles at 9-7. I think Carson Wentz is going to have an even better year than he did. He's going to grow from his mistakes last year. I don't think Alshon Jeffrey and Torrey Smith are going to be wow, but I think they're going to be serviceable enough to get the job done, especially when you're talking about a line that's being anchored by Lane Johnson and Jason Peters, and they got some serviceable backs that are both dimensional with Pumphrey, LeGarrette, and Darren Sproles. I mean, you got weapons all over in there, and their defense is not too shabby. But yes, I am being a little biased with the Giants at 10-6 because I love the defense that we have right now. We need to maintain it, and we need to take critical point of it right now because it's not going to last. These contracts are going to catch up to us. We're going to have to pay people. We need to capitalize now. And the thing that worries me, of course, is the O-line, Eric Flowers especially. But with these weapons, we need to get the ball out of Eli's hands, and we need to capitalize with these short little passes and big playmakers. And Yak.
How dare you? How dare you?
Fox, go ahead.
Fired.
Go ahead. Give your Fox, go ahead.
You're muted, Fog.
Yeah. Okay. So, last place is going to be Washington. I gotta agree with Tim on that one. As far as the rest of them, I can't go against Dallas. I know there hasn't been a repeat division champ in like
come on, Fox.
Jeez. 8 or 9 years, but I think they've got the right weaponry on the offensive side of the ball. Again, their defense is going to be smoke and mirrors again. And the best defense in there is the Giants' defense. But I think Philly and the Giants are going to be competing for 8-8, 9-7, and second and third in that division. I think Dallas can pull off 9-6. I mean 10-6.
All shootouts with Dallas.
All right. So let me dump on everyone really quickly here in your dreams. First things first. I'm buying Philadelphia this season. I'm buying them so much that I think they can win 12 games, actually. I think it's a very good defense along with a very good offense. And Listen, last season Carson Wentz, his targets weren't good. I think they upgraded that. They got him another running back. That line has gotten better. Lane Johnson is going to be gone 10 games this season. Pound, I think, I like that acquisition of Darby. Cornerback was a big question for him, and they short that up. It's hard to pick against Philadelphia right now. New York, we'll see what their offensive line can do. Dallas, all right. Let me put it this way. Let me answer me this question. What's the best thing an offense can do for a defense? What are the two best things an offense can do for a defense?
Score.
Well, that's one. Well,
Time of possession.
that's one.
Time
Yeah,
of
that's it.
possession.
There you go.
Here's what I'm getting at. Not turn the ball over is one.
Right.
Time of possession. I think the reason why Dallas's defense was so good is that the offense chewed the clock. They milked a lot of clock. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that again this season. But Zeke is gone for 6 games. And again, just on the defense, it's not a defense I want to leave on the field very long. If they can maintain that same time of possession, I could see Dallas getting 10, 11 wins. It's going to be tough, though. I'm still buying Philadelphia. Washington, whatever.
I hope you're right, Dullah.
You had that. You had number 2. You had that at 2.
I think they'll end up finishing 2.
Okay, acceptable.
I believe it. I also could see Philly going off, just for the record.
Okay.
I think they're going to be a scary team.
I'd say 1.
That's
acceptable.
I could see a 3-way tie and it being a tiebreaker in division games at the end of the day.
Oh, don't say that. Please don't say that.
It's always tight
That's fine. Like I said, those 3 are going to be very close. 10-6 and to 8-8 between 3 teams. That's going to be really tight.
Yeah.
And with Washington, I just don't know what the hell Washington's trying to do. I don't get it. I don't get them right now.
But they'll still put up points, so.
They don't get it either.
Football never ends.